know. It's like, you know, the second I turn on the, oh, so bright. So bright and terrible. Say hi, Bob. Say hi to the people. No, say hi, internet. Hi, internet. Did you miss us while we were gone? Yeah, did you miss us? Did you miss snacks? I bet you miss snacks. Who's my favorite turtle? You're my favorite turtle. You're the prettiest turtle, yes you are. Mommy missed you so much. Yeah, who's a good pop? Okay, I'll put you back. You can go back to napping now. Hello, the internet, and welcome. So today is going to be something a little bit different. I'm going to be going over the items that I packed for a trip that I legitimately just got home from today. So unfortunately, there was a death in our family, and that resulted in traveling to my husband's hometown for the funeral. So I got to pack makeup and skincare for a funeral for the first time. Because, in case you didn't know, makeup is something that's relatively new to my life, despite how enthusiastic I am about it. I only started really wearing and using makeup on a regular basis in the last 5 or 6 years or so. So yeah, not something that I had to worry about, but it was a thing that I did this time around. So we are gonna start off, I guess, with skincare and things of that nature, and then move on to the fun stuff, relatively speaking, that I brought with me on this trip. So first things first, everybody needs a micellar water. I'm always using the Garnier because it's easy to find. I can pick it up at Walmart. It's relatively cheap. This is the all-in-one mattifying micellar water. Works very well. Useful for removing makeup and what's left of it after a funeral. Then I have the Body Shop. This is their vitamin E toner. I actually have been loving the heck out of this. I didn't understand the point of toners, but this has been very helpful considering it is winter and very cold and dry just everywhere. Something a bit different. I brought along the Mary Kay Time Wise. This is their Radiance Peel, and it's primarily glycolic acid. I usually use salicylic in varying degrees, but this actually works pretty well. I mean, it's a chemical exfoliator, so it's not drying you out as much as taking a physical exfoliator, like, you know, abrasive on your face, despite the fact that it's a peel and it tells you to leave it on for like 10 minutes and then remove it. I'm used to higher concentrations of both salicylic and glycolic acid, so I just kind of leave it on, and I mean, it's slowly helping, but that's a whole other thing. And then, of course, I have my Equate makeup remover wipes that come with me everywhere and just continue to be repurchased forever and ever and ever. Couple things from the hair care department, because I had not only my fluffy top here, but also my adorable daughters to manage. I have the Briogeo Don't Despair. Why does everything have to rhyme? Briogeo Don't Despair Repair. This is their strengthening leave-in mask. I believe I've talked about it before. I've always been curious about it, but I just didn't know how well a spray would work. It's wonderful, and I still need to repurchase this before I run out. And then Not Your Mother's Hair Care. This is their dry shampoo. It's for volumizing and all that good stuff. Whenever I straighten my hair, I as a general rule don't like to wash my hair more than a couple of times a week, but when I straighten it, it's only going to stay straight until I wash it again. So in order to maintain that hairstyle, I will do whatever I can, including just so much dry shampoo. but it works and I like it and it smells wonderful. So there's that. Also available at Walmart. Rather inexpensive. I'm cheap. Before I talk about makeup, I'm going to say that I brought a BH Cosmetic brush set. So the only two things that are not part of BH Cosmetic brush set are the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. I brought this for my loose powder mineral foundation that I will show you shortly. It actually works extremely well. I will legitimately use this for anything. Like if I could buy a half dozen of these and just use them for everything, I probably would. They're a little too stiff for like a light application of bronzer or highlight, but just in general, blush, powder, liquid foundations, creams, that just, it does it all and it's like $3. So pro tip, works. And then I also brought along the L'Oreal blending sponge. It's dirty because I haven't cleaned it yet, but I do have a backup of this. I've been bouncing between using these and the AOA Studio Wonder Blender, the Paw Paw one, because those are softer than their regular blenders. And they're only 55 cents more, so they work. But this is I can actually find it in a drugstore blending sponge, and I like it. It's definitely stiffer, but I like it. Does the job. Okay, down to business in the order that I would apply things. I brought the Clinique Super Primer. This is their yellow one that's supposed to correct for redness. It really doesn't, but it is thick enough that it does a good job of pore filling. And as long as I'm using a lightweight foundation, it doesn't get cakey. So that is the key. If I try and use this with a full coverage matte foundation, oh no, does not look good at all. But something lightweight, natural finish, even dewy finish, all about that life. I may have overdone it with the foundations, but they all serve a purpose. So the one that I used most often, I think I got a couple of pictures of me in said makeup on both the day of the viewing and the day of the funeral. If I do, I will insert them now. But this is what I use most often. This is the Bare Minerals Original Foundation. I have the shade Golden Ivory. I like it. It does have SPF 15, which is really, if you're doing it properly, you don't necessarily need more than 15. Like 15 to 30 is the generally sufficient. Anything above that, I mean, smarter people than me have talked about it, but the higher up you get, the return on your investment in SPF just diminishes exponentially. So it's easier just to go with a good, 30 or 15 and, layer something else than it is to go for 100 or something like that, because it's not necessarily going to make application easier. You still need to touch up every couple of hours to reapply, or it's not going to work. Luckily, we weren't outside a whole lot. There was, a procession to the cemetery, but we weren't outdoors for any period of time throughout this entire process. So the SPF wasn't necessarily the reason I went with this. It is an added bonus. But for some reason, with how much I've been just dry and my chin has been breaking out, this tends to stick easier than liquids, which kind of doesn't make sense to me, but I guess I can touch this up as needed without having to worry about it, as opposed to using a liquid where I'm going to get messy or I'm going to have to bust out a blender and it's just this whole ordeal, so I end up not doing it. But Bare Minerals Original, I've finally come to love this like a child. So this was number one. Okay, then I also bought, and you can't see it because it's black lettering on black packaging, but this is a Milania's Conceal and Perfect powder. And it's not in a project or anything, but I've been definitely working my way through this. I typically keep this in my makeup bag at all times just as a kind of touch-up powder because it is mattifying and it does offer some level of coverage. But I feel that using the Bare Minerals as a base and then this just to kind of brighten areas, they seem to go very well together, which is extremely helpful if you're trying to look nice without going crazy. But I also brought 2 non-powder products. So I have my cult classic favorite that is discontinued now, I believe. I stocked up because they said that it was on clearance and I haven't seen it, so I'm guessing it's gone, but this is the MBA Cosmetics Perfect Finish Aloe Foundation. I also brought along the Makeup Revolution, I'm reading from the cap, Fast Base Stick Foundation. And this is, I mean, I end up using this more as like a brightening concealer or for highlighting than anything else. But it blends out fine as long as you're using, you know, a damp blending sponge. I just, aside from like an eyeshadow base and brightening, I ended up getting this in a shade way too light for me. This is F4. I can't remember what it's actually called, but yeah, it's F4. Very, very light on me, so it's pretty much just an under eye type thing. But I brought it anyway because it goes well with the Aloe Foundation. That was it for my base. Let's get to blush and contour. I feel like the biggest bulk of my makeup on this trip was the foundations and the bases, just because I was so concerned about making things last. Before I forget, I did also bring the NYX Matte Finish Setting Spray. I don't love this as much as there's a Makeup Revolution mattifying setting spray that will keep everything on your face no matter what forever. It just has a weird smell. So I didn't bring that. I brought this. It's okay. Kind of worked, did its job. But moving on to more colorful things. First things first, we have the Smashbox Step by Step Contour Palette. You can tell that this has been in my collection for a while because they're not rectangular anymore. Last time I checked, both the travel and the full size are circles now. So I've had this for several years and it still works and it doesn't smell weird. So I'm going to continue to use it because the quality is just beyond anything that I could hope for. But I brought that because it had its lightening shade, and its bronzing, and its contour, and its everything in a cute little package. And that is what you need when you're traveling. Then for my blush, I brought 2 things. So this is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Blush in Candid Coral. I feel like I've whined about this before, but I'm very, very close to finishing this. Like, this is not going to last another 4 months maybe. This is like my go-to on a day-to-day basis just because it's such a light, calm, relaxing, non-shimmery blush. It just has this nice glow, and that was in the shade Candid Coral. I love it. It doesn't seem to exist anymore, so I'm going to be very sad here shortly. And then the other blush that I brought along was the Milani Baked Blush in the shade Berry Amore. I do not have as much of a dent in this, even though I use it constantly, and it kind of makes me wonder how deep this pan is. But I'm not complaining that it's taking a while to use. I definitely enjoy it, and I want it to be here as long as possible. Okay, now on to eyes. So I brought a couple of pencils with me. I have the Ulta Beauty Gel Liner in the shade Blackout as my just standard black eyeliner. And then I don't even know how to say this. Janta Blue liner in the shade Dark Brown. I'm trying to see if it has like a name. Oh, eyeliner pencil. Eyeliner pencil's partially sharpened off because I've had this for a bit. And it's not gel, it's just a regular pencil, but it's a dark brown. It did its job. And then I also brought along the matte liner by NYX. I didn't really get a chance to use this with the exception of going out to dinner with my family the night before we left. So I love the Epic Incliner more. We'll just put it down so we don't hurt its feelings. So the one place that I screwed up big time is not thinking to purchase and bring a waterproof mascara. Because under normal circumstances, while my eyes will occasionally get just moist or watery, it's not a thing that I have to worry about. I don't spend a whole lot of my time crying and ruining my makeup. So that was a mistake, but it's fine. Learning experience. I don't necessarily think at that exact moment anyone was judging that. So, and even if they were, not the point. So I did bring 2 mascaras. I brought the CoverGirl Clump Crusher Extensions because it's wonderful and it does a great job of just lengthening and separating without making things look too heavy. It's not like a false lash mascara. And then for that false lash look, I brought the Too Faced Better Than Sex. I'm still working on my little travel size. I do have a full size from BoxyCharm, I believe, from last month that I will eventually get to. But those are my 2 mascaras. I need to remember in the future, buy one of them in waterproof. You live and you learn. Now, this might surprise people, but I only brought 2 eyeshadow palettes because I didn't wear a whole lot of eyeshadow. I wasn't really concerned with bright eye looks. So I had the Makeup Revolution Flawless Mattes palettes. Let's see if I can open this without it getting all shiny. But it is literally just a whole bunch of neutral mattes. And yes, these are tiny pans. They're probably like a 20 millimeter. I'm not 100% on that, but I mean, I have my range of shades in neutral mattes. So that was the main use during this trip. And then just in case we went out to dinner or something, as we do, and as we did, I brought along the ColourPop Semi Precious palette because I figured that I might need something a little more interesting if we went out. And it turns out we did. We went out to dinner and I put together a look that I will throw over there. And I don't know, I think it came out fine. I wasn't going for anything too dramatic. Just something to make my eyes not look naked. Okay, last but not least, lips. I will show you what I brought and then I will show you what I purchased because retail therapy helps. So I brought along 1 bullet lipstick and then 2 lip pencils that I could use. So I have the Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick in the shade Peach Me, and it's quickly disappearing. I've actually been using this kind of religiously just because it's such a creamy moisturizing lipstick as, you know, just an everyday thing, whether I'm wearing a whole lot of makeup or not. So I've been using this down like it's a chapstick, essentially, is what's been happening. And then I brought along 2 lip pencils. So I have the Lord & Berry lip pencil, and this is in the shade Maximat? Maximat? No. Maximat Crayon Lipstick is the product. Intimacy is the shade. I'll just go sit in my corner of shame. Okay, and then the other thing that I brought along was the NYX Suede matte lip liner in the shade Copenhagen, just in case I needed something a little darker. I did not. I mean, I guess I could have, but was not that important. So, finally, what I purchased, because I have no willpower. We've established this. Moving on. I picked up one of the new Almay Lip Vibes cream lipsticks. So this one is in the shade Smile. I think that the packaging is just adorable. It's like a little Aloha shirt. It's wonderful. And this is just a gorgeous gorgeous orange coral. I love it. So, like, I need more lipstick, but I saw it and I was like, yeah, that's happening. We're doing that. So, that was everything. That was everything that I brought with me. Just beauty, skincare, hair-wise on this trip. So I packed relatively light. I feel like I didn't bring a lot of stuff. Everything that I brought along served its purpose. And yeah, waterproof mascara. Pro tip. So that is it for today's video. I hope that you are having a wonderful day or night, depending on when you're watching this. If you like the video, you can hit the button. If you like my face, you can subscribe or don't. I'm not the boss of you. But if you do choose to stick around, you can see more upbeat content and more Bob.